You wake up, and within 60 seconds it starts. The phone, the notifications, the low-grade anxiety that didn't wait for you to invite it in. Before you've said a single word, before your feet have touched the floor, the world has already begun pulling at you, demanding, insisting, crowding out every quiet thought you might have had. Most people call this a morning. The Stoics would call it a surrender. There's a reason Marcus Aurelius opened his private journals before the sun rose. A reason Seneca wrote his most urgent letters in the first hours of the day. These men weren't fighting emperors and empires only out there in the world. They were fighting something far closer. The chaos that lives inside an undisciplined mind. The first hour of the morning, Seneca wrote, sets the tone for the rest of the day. This video is about those hours. 8 practices, ancient, tested, quietly radical, not morning hacks, not productivity theater. These are the disciplines that transform how you meet each day, before the noise finds you, before the demands stack up, before you've lost the thread of who you actually are. If you're ready to reclaim your mornings, drop "I own my morning" in the comments. Let's see who's serious about this. Your morning is not a warm-up. It is the work. And it begins right now. Here's what nobody tells you about morning routines. They don't fail because you're lazy. They don't fail because you chose the wrong habit tracker or downloaded the wrong app. They fail because they're built on the wrong foundation entirely. Most morning routines are constructed around productivity, around doing more, moving faster, optimizing output. And that's precisely the problem. You can't optimize your way to a meaningful life. Think about the average morning. The alarm goes off. Maybe you hit snooze once, maybe 3 times. You reach for your phone before you've taken a conscious breath. Within minutes, you're scrolling through other people's lives, consuming news you can't act on, absorbing anxieties that don't belong to you. By the time you're dressed and caffeinated, you've already spent your most mentally clear hours in a state of passive consumption. The Stoics had a word for this kind of living. They called it acholasia, a lack of self-restraint, an absence of discipline over one's own impulses. And they considered it one of the great threats to a well-lived life. Not dramatic moral failure, just the slow erosion of agency, morning after morning, through 1,000 small surrenders. What's actually missing from most morning routines isn't a better habit, it's philosophy. A framework, a set of questions you ask yourself before the world starts asking its questions of you. Marcus Aurelius didn't just wake up and exercise and journal because someone told him that was the optimal morning stack. He did it because he understood something most people never stop to consider, that the mind, left unattended, defaults to fear, distraction, and complaint. Every morning you wake up, you are given a clean slate. Not a metaphorical one, a neurological one. The prefrontal cortex, the seat of reasoning and self-control, is most accessible in those first quiet hours before the cognitive load of the day accumulates. The Stoics didn't know the neuroscience, but they knew the truth of it. The morning is the most powerful moment you have. And right now, most people are spending it on autopilot. The 8 practices ahead aren't about adding more to your morning. They're about reclaiming it. Turning the first hour of your day from a passive drift into a deliberate act of becoming. That shift starts with the very first thing you do when you open your eyes. Practice 1. Wake with intention. Marcus Aurelius didn't leap out of bed with enthusiasm. He admitted that plainly in his Meditations. that he felt the pull of the warm covers, the desire to stay still, to avoid the day. And then he asked himself a question that cut right through all of it. What am I getting up to do? Not a motivational question, a philosophical one. Because the moment you can answer it, clearly, specifically, without hesitation, something shifts. The body follows where the mind has already gone. Waking with intention means deciding, before you close your eyes the night before or in the very first seconds of consciousness, what this day is for. Not your whole life, not your 5-year plan, just today. What is the one thing this day exists to accomplish, or to practice, or to become? This is different from a to-do list. A to-do list is about tasks. Intention is about identity. It's the difference between I need to send those emails and today I will practice patience with the people who frustrate me. One is logistics, the other is philosophy. Epictetus taught that everything in life falls into one of two categories: things within our control and things outside it. Your intentions belong entirely to the first category. The outcome of your day, not always. But the quality of attention and character you bring to it, completely yours. Every single morning. Try this. Before you pick up your phone, before you check the time, before you let the outer world rush in, ask yourself one question. Who do I want to be today? Not in grand terms, in practical, specific ones. Maybe today you want to be someone who listens without interrupting. Maybe you want to be someone who does the hard task first, without negotiating with yourself. Maybe you simply want to be present, genuinely, fully present in your conversations. Say it out loud if you can. There's something about speaking an intention into the air that makes it more real, more accountable. The Stoics called this prohairesis, the deliberate, reasoned act of choosing your orientation toward life. And it begins the moment you decide your morning will not be a default setting. You are not waking up. You are waking up as someone. The question is, who? Answer that first. Everything else in your morning becomes easier when you do. Practice 2. Memento Mori. Remember you will die. This one makes people uncomfortable. Good. Memento Mori, Latin for remember that you will die. Not as morbid theatre, not as a way to spiral into existential dread before breakfast, but as the single most clarifying thought a human being can hold in their mind first thing in the morning. The Stoics were obsessed with death, not because they were pessimists, because they were realists who understood something most of us spend our entire lives avoiding, that the finite nature of your time here is not a tragedy, it is a gift. It is the pressure that makes diamonds, the constraint that transforms how you choose to spend an ordinary Tuesday. Seneca wrote, "Let us prepare our minds as if we had come to the very end of life." He didn't mean despair, he meant clarity. When you hold the reality of your own mortality gently in your mind each morning, the trivial stops feeling urgent and the important stops feeling optional. Think about the things that consume your mental energy on a typical morning. The irritation over a slow commute, the anxiety about what someone might think of your email, the lingering resentment over a conversation from 2 days ago. Now hold those things next to the simple fact that you have a limited number of mornings left on this earth. Not infinite, not guaranteed, a number. Watch how quickly the trivial reorganizes itself. This isn't about living in fear of death. It's about living because of it. There's a profound difference. Fear of death shrinks you. Awareness of death expands you. It stretches your sense of what matters, sharpens your gratitude for ordinary things, and cuts through the noise with surgical precision. Roman generals who returned from battle in triumph would have a slave ride beside them in the chariot, whispering into their ear, "Memento Mori, remember you will die." Even in their greatest moment of glory, they were asked to hold both truths at once. You don't need a slave in your chariot. You just need 30 seconds. 30 seconds in the morning to acknowledge calmly and clearly that this day is not guaranteed, that the people you love will not always be here, that you will not always be here, and then, from that place of honest reckoning, to ask yourself what you want to do with the hours ahead. The answer will surprise you with its clarity. Practice 3. Define your one purpose for the day. There's a particular kind of exhaustion that has nothing to do with how much you slept. It's the exhaustion of moving through a day without a center, of doing 20 things and feeling like you did nothing, of being busy and feeling hollow. The Stoics called purposeless activity periergia, a busying of oneself with things that don't matter, mistaking motion for meaning. And it's one of the great modern afflictions, hiding in plain sight inside perfectly respectable schedules. The antidote is simple, but it requires discipline. Each morning, identify the one purpose that anchors your day. Not 5 priorities, not a ranked list. 1. A single thread you can return to whenever the day pulls you sideways, whenever the urgent starts drowning out the important. This is not the same as practice 1, where you asked who you want to be. This asks what your day is fundamentally for. Its reason. Its spine. For Marcus Aurelius, the answer was often the same. To serve. To serve Rome. To serve justice. To serve the people who came before him asking for wisdom or resolution. His role was enormous, but his daily anchor was simple: service. It gave every smaller decision a North Star. Your purpose doesn't need to be grand. In fact, the smaller and more specific it is, the more useful it becomes. To finish the proposal with full attention is a better daily purpose than to be productive. To be truly present with my children tonight is a better anchor than to be a good parent. Specificity transforms intention into action. Epictetus taught that virtue, living in alignment with your highest values, wasn't an abstract destination, but a daily practice chosen moment by moment. Your daily purpose is how that practice begins. It's you saying to yourself, this is what today is actually for, beneath all the noise. Here's a practice that takes less than 2 minutes. Before you begin your morning, write one sentence. Not a paragraph, not a list. One sentence that completes this prompt. Today is for. Then put it somewhere you'll see it. On your desk, on your phone background, on a sticky note above your coffee maker. When the day veers off course, and it will, come back to that sentence. It won't fix everything, but it will fix your direction. And direction, the Stoics knew, is everything. Practice 4. Voluntary discomfort. Every morning you have a choice. You can reach for comfort or you can reach for strength. Most people choose comfort. The Stoics chose differently, and they chose deliberately, with full awareness of what they were doing. Voluntary discomfort. The practice of intentionally introducing something hard into your morning, not because suffering is noble, but because the alternative, a life lived only in easy conditions, quietly destroys the one thing the Stoics valued above everything else: inner freedom. Seneca practiced this regularly. He would periodically reduce himself to the simplest food, the coarsest clothing, the most basic conditions, not as punishment, but as rehearsal. Set aside a certain number of days, he wrote, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, is this the condition that I feared? The point wasn't to become an ascetic. The point was to discover that you could survive what you feared. That comfort, while pleasant, was not the source of your strength. That you were harder than your softest habits suggested. This looks different for different people. It might be a cold shower in the morning. Not because cold showers are magical, but because choosing discomfort before the day begins trains the part of you that makes choices under pressure. It might be sitting in silence without your phone for 15 minutes when every impulse pulls toward distraction. It might be skipping the thing you always reach for, the ritual coffee, the morning scroll, just to remind yourself that you are in control of your appetites, not the other way around. What matters is not the specific practice. What matters is the act of choosing it freely. There's a psychological principle here that modern science confirms. When you voluntarily face something difficult, you build what researchers call stress inoculation, a kind of mental toughness that transfers across contexts. The person who trains themselves to embrace small discomforts in the morning is building a different nervous system for the rest of the day. The Stoics knew nothing of cortisol or neuroplasticity, but they understood the outcome. Voluntary hardship in small doses makes involuntary hardship in life more survivable. You don't have to become a monk. You don't have to suffer. You just have to choose one hard thing before the day chooses it for you. That single choice made consistently is how resilience is actually built. Practice 5. Journaling as self-examination. The Meditations of Marcus Aurelius was never meant to be published. It was never meant to be read by anyone but him. It was a journal, private, raw, sometimes repetitive, a man talking to himself with total honesty about where he was falling short, what he believed, what he feared, and what he was trying to become. The most powerful emperor in the known world spent part of every morning holding himself accountable on a page that no one would ever see. That is Stoic journaling, and it is nothing like what most people mean when they talk about journaling. It's not a gratitude list, though gratitude may appear in it. It's not a diary of events, though events may find their way there. It is, at its core, a practice of self-examination, of asking yourself in writing the questions that are too uncomfortable to hold in your head without slipping away. Where did I lose my temper yesterday? What did I avoid that I knew I should face? Was I the person I intended to be, or did I drift? Epictetus believed that an unexamined life was a dangerous one, not philosophically dangerous in some abstract sense, but practically dangerous because a person who doesn't examine themselves will keep making the same mistakes, carrying the same blind spots, and wondering why nothing changes. The page makes you honest in a way that thought alone rarely does. When you write something down, you can't unsee it. You can't quietly revise it while you're looking at it. It stays, and staying is where accountability lives. You don't need to write for an hour. You don't need beautiful prose. 5 minutes and 3 questions is enough. Something like, what do I want to practice today? What's actually bothering me that I haven't fully acknowledged? Where am I avoiding responsibility? Write the answers without editing. The value is in the honesty, not the eloquence. Over time, and this is where the practice becomes profound, you begin to notice patterns, the same fears resurfacing, the same evasions, the same moments of irritability that point towards something you haven't addressed. The journal doesn't solve these things, but it makes them visible. And you cannot change what you refuse to see. Marcus Aurelius understood this. That's why he wrote to himself every morning, imperfect and honest, building a clearer picture of who he was, so he could more deliberately become who he wanted to be. Practice 6. Read the philosophers. There's a difference between reading and being read. When you pick up a page of Seneca in the morning, really pick it up with your attention fully present. Something happens that doesn't happen with a news feed or a social media scroll. You are in dialogue with a mind that has thought more carefully, more honestly, and over a longer span of time about the things that actually matter. You are not consuming, you are being shaped. The Stoics were voracious readers, but they read with a particular discipline, not for information, for transformation. Seneca was explicit about this. Gather and save the passages that you can apply and live by, not hundreds of them, but a few that you can make completely your own. The goal was not to know more, the goal was to become different. This is the philosophy of slow reading. 1 page, sometimes less. Read until something stops you, and when something stops you, a line, a phrase, an idea that lands differently today than it would have yesterday, stop. Sit with it. Ask what it's asking of you. Morning is the optimal time for this because your mind is clear, your defenses are lower, and you haven't yet been shaped by the noise of the day. The idea you encounter at 6 a.m. has a different quality of access to you than the same idea encountered at 3 p.m. when you're tired and reactive and half distracted. And it doesn't have to be Stoic philosophy specifically. Marcus Aurelius read Greek philosophy, Seneca read Epictetus, his philosophical opponent, specifically because encountering opposing ideas with an open mind was itself a Stoic virtue. What matters is that the text you choose is asking you to think harder, live better, and understand yourself more clearly. Keep the bar high. This is your mind's first real meal of the day. 5 to 10 minutes is enough. You are not trying to finish a book. You are trying to find one thought worth carrying, one idea that sharpens something in you, or challenges something in you, or names something you'd felt but couldn't articulate. Seneca wrote, "Begin at once to live, and count each separate day as a separate life." Imagine starting each of those separate lives by spending its first minutes in the company of someone who has already thought deeply about how to live it well. That is what this practice offers. Not information, companionship in the pursuit of wisdom. Practice 7. Premeditatio malorum, negative visualization. This practice has the most misleading name in all of Stoic philosophy. Negative visualization sounds dark, pessimistic, like you're training yourself to expect the worst. But that's almost exactly backwards from what it actually is. Premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils, is the practice of calmly, deliberately imagining what could go wrong today, not to invite those things, but to meet them without being shattered by them when they arrive, which they will. Not always dramatically, not always catastrophically, but something will go wrong today. Something doesn't cooperate, someone disappoints, a plan falls apart. The question is whether you meet that moment as someone who was prepared or someone who is blindsided. The Stoics believed that most of our emotional suffering didn't come from bad events themselves, but from the gap between what we expected and what we got. The wider the gap, the greater the pain. Negative visualization is the practice of narrowing that gap, not by lowering your ambitions, but by honestly acknowledging that the world doesn't owe you smooth execution. Marcus Aurelius practiced this consistently. Each morning he would remind himself that he was about to encounter difficult people, ungrateful people, dishonest people, people who would frustrate and disappoint him. He didn't do this to become cynical. He did it to remain undisturbed, to meet those encounters with equanimity rather than outrage, because he had already made room for them. Here is how to practice it. In the morning, take 2 or 3 minutes to walk through your day ahead. Think about where friction is most likely to appear. A difficult conversation, a task you've been avoiding, a commute, a meeting, a moment where you'll be tested. Don't catastrophize. Don't spiral. Just acknowledge the realistic possibility that things won't go perfectly. And ask yourself, if that happens, how do I want to respond? That last question is the whole practice. Not will this happen, not how do I prevent it, but who do I want to be if it does? Because that's what you can actually control. Epictetus was blunt about this. The person who practices negative visualization is not rehearsing disaster. They are rehearsing themselves, building the version of themselves that can stay steady when steadiness is hard. That is not pessimism, that is preparation. And preparation, practiced each morning, slowly becomes the only kind of optimism worth having, the kind built on genuine resilience, not on wishful thinking. Practice 8. Gratitude without sentimentality. Gratitude is the most misunderstood practice in modern self-help. It's been softened, sentimentalized, packaged into 5-minute journals and Instagram captions until it barely resembles the thing the Stoics were actually talking about. Stoic gratitude is not warm. It's not a feeling you wait for or try to manufacture. It is a practice of clear-eyed attention, of looking at what you already have and actually seeing it fully, without the filter of habit that makes the extraordinary feel ordinary. Seneca wrote, "Do not spoil what you have by desiring what you have not. Remember that what you now have was once among the things you only hoped for." Read that again slowly. The things you have now, your health, if you have it, your shelter, the specific people in your life, the fact that you woke up this morning with the capacity to choose how to spend your day, these things were once objects of hope. At some point in your past, you would have been deeply grateful to have exactly what you have right now. Somehow, in the process of having them, they became invisible. Stoic gratitude is the practice of making them visible again. This is why Marcus Aurelius was relentless in his meditations about naming the people who had helped him, taught him, shaped him, not as a sentimental exercise, but as an act of philosophical honesty. He was countering the mind's natural tendency to habituate, to stop noticing what it has grown used to. The practice doesn't require a journal, though writing helps. It requires attention. Take 2 minutes in the morning and ask yourself one question. What would I lose today if it were taken from me, and do I actually understand what it means that I still have it? Not a list of 10 things, one thing, but felt fully. Not, I'm grateful for my family in a rote going through the motions way, but sitting with the specific reality of a specific person and understanding clearly that their presence in your life is not guaranteed. That is different. That wakes something in you. Paired with Memento Mori, Stoic gratitude becomes particularly powerful. When you hold both truths at once, that this day is finite and that you have more than you usually acknowledge, the result is not sadness. It is the particular aliveness that comes from paying attention to your actual life. Not the life you're waiting for, the one you're already living. 8 practices, and yet, at their core, they are one practice. They are all the same gesture, repeated from different angles, the deliberate choice to meet your life with intention rather than drift through it on autopilot, to be the author of your morning instead of its audience. The Stoics weren't trying to build perfect people. They were deeply skeptical of perfection. What they were building What Marcus Aurelius was building in those pre-dawn journal pages, what Seneca was building in his letters, what Epictetus was building in his lectures delivered to students who would go on to shape empires, was something more durable than perfection. They were building practice. A practice is something you return to, not something you complete. You will not wake with intention every morning. You will forget to journal, skip the cold shower, lose the thread of your purpose before noon on some days. None of that disqualifies you. The Stoics failed too. Marcus Aurelius writes in his meditations about his own impatience, his own frustrations, his own slow progress toward the person he was trying to become. The journal isn't evidence of his mastery, it's evidence of his effort. That is what you're being invited into. Not a perfect morning, a committed one. A morning where you ask at least one of these questions, practice at least one of these disciplines, and bring at least a little more of yourself to the hours that follow. Start with one. Whichever one called to you most strongly in this video, begin there. Do it tomorrow. Do it again the day after. Add another when the first feels natural. The morning is not a problem to be solved. It is a capacity to be developed. And like all capacities worth developing, it grows slowly, imperceptibly, until one day you realize that the person who woke up today is not quite the same as the person who went to sleep a year ago. That is what Stoicism promises. Not happiness delivered, but a life actively, honestly, courageously built, one morning at a time. The Stoics didn't wait for the right moment to begin. They began. If you're ready to do the same, tell me in the comments. Day 1. And if you want to keep going deeper into this work, into the philosophy that actually changes how you move through the world, subscribe to the Stoic Mode and hit the bell. Every video we make is another step forward. Thank you for watching. Live deliberately.